Hi, welcome to Heaven Encounters. My guest today is Santosh Acharjee. He came from a Hindu family and very much involved in Hinduism. And then he died from a rupture, and he had an experience that will be absolutely spectacular. So, Santosh, it's great to have you with us today.
Hello, everyone. My name is Santosh Acharjee, and I was born and raised in a very conservative Hindu family in India. And not only that, my father was a very strong conservative Hindu. He was a well renowned Sanskrit scholar. Sanskrit is the original language most of the Indian languages came from, so he was really well renowned in that. Not only that, he had a lot of, he was well reputed for his priestly activities. Everybody loved him. Everybody had a lot of respect for him. But for myself, I took a different route. I came into the technical and engineering field. And after completion of my studies, I went to Germany for further training. And from Germany, I emigrated to Canada. And from Canada, I was transferred to many countries. When I had a job, I transferred to many countries in the world. Until such time when one night I had a very severe chest and abdomen pains. I was sweating left and right, and everyone thought I was having a heart attack. Paramedics came and took me to the nearest hospital, and they also thought that I was having a heart attack. But after several tests, they determined that I did not have the heart attack. My gallstones ruptured, but when they ruptured, they actually punctured the nearby organ called pancreas from one end to the other end. As a result, the pancreas was wounded and it was bleeding. My heart rate skyrocketed up to 204, and there was no end in sight. To make the long story short, the doctors and the hospital, they thought they could not do anything for me. Nothing. Up until now, there is no such medication or cure that's available for what I had. The only thing I could do, the doctor said, was pray and hope. But for me, I did not know to whom to pray and how to pray. Then one day, I had further complications in the hospital, and they did some wrong procedures, not intentionally, where my lungs got filled up with blood, and then as a result, I went to the code blue situation in that ICU of that hospital. So when the code blue happened, everything stopped. Everything went dark for a while. And then when the code blue happened, the last thing that I lost of the senses was my hearing. So even though I could not see and I could not talk, I could not do other things, but I could still hear. And through the hearing, I could hear that the paramedics came inside the room and they drove everyone out. And they took over and they tried to revive me, but they failed. And at the end, the last thing I remember, one doctor said to the other doctor, "We are rapidly losing him. He is not responding at all." And the other doctor said, "We just lost him." And that's the last thing that I recall. After that, I went to a deep sleep. But when I went to a deep sleep, I always thought that once I die, that's it. There is no such thing after life. But then I noticed, even though I'm physically dead, all the things that God gave me, my capabilities, my analytical capabilities, everything was still functioning. Only thing I did not have was my physical body. At that moment, I had a desperate feeling. What shall I do now? I lost my home. Where shall I go? What shall I do? At that moment, a bright light appeared before me. When the light came to me, I knew that light had superior authority and I have to obey that light. And when that light came, it was taking me to an unknown destination. I had no other choice. The light surrounded me with its radiance, and because of that, I could not see anything else other than the light. Together we traveled for enormous distance. For how long, I don't know. But during the transition, I fell in love with that. I call this divine light because I fell in love because I knew that its mission was to protect me from any harm that might happen. And after the journey stopped, I came to the. I was wondering, why did the light stop? Then I opened up. Then I saw in front of me the light was shining on top of a beautiful compound, the most beautiful complex that I ever seen anywhere. Is really magnificent. This entire compound was surrounded with high walls all around it, and I desperately wanted to go inside. I tried. All around it, I saw there were 12 magnificent gates, but none of those gates they were open for me. I could not enter. And then when I saw there were numerous angels, when I saw the angels, then I knew that I was looking at the kingdom of heaven. And that should be my ultimate goal, is to enter into the kingdom of heaven. But there was not a single gate was open for me. At that time, I was sad because I could not enter into that kingdom of heaven. So, not being able to enter into the kingdom of heaven, I was wondering, where is this place? Where am I standing? And then I saw a huge platform where I was standing. The platform is about 1,000 feet long. It's about 250 feet wide. And I was standing on the extreme left edge of that platform. And my initial thought was, why this platform doesn't have any railing? If I fall, where shall I fall? So I looked on my left, and down below I saw was an enormous depth, was a deep dungeon, dark world, and where I shall fall from there is a burning lake of fire. So when I fall from there, I would fall into the burning lake of fire. And I didn't really want to fall there. So immediately I moved a couple of feet away from there. So I don't fall there by chance. But not being able to go inside the kingdom of heaven, and the situation where I was very, very sad. And I thought there would be an alternative. If there would be alternative, I wish there was one. At that time, I saw in the middle of that platform, in the center of the platform, there was it's like an altar with the 3 steps. And on top of the 3rd step, I saw there was a huge throne. And on that throne, it felt like somebody was sitting there. And when I looked up and I saw there was, lo and behold, the Almighty Lord was sitting there. When I saw the Almighty Lord, nobody need to tell me who that Almighty was. I automatically knew he was the Almighty Lord. At that time, I did not know anyone other than God, so I knew that it was God himself. Okay. And then when I saw him, I looked at his face only once, and I started to tremble. He appeared to me like a mighty giant of pure light with blazing fires in his eyes. And when I saw his face, I was totally ashamed for all the wrongful things that I've done in my life. And every one of my sins that I committed, they were flashed before my eyes. Some of them I already forgot, but everyone was flashed before my eyes. I could not look at his face second time. I started to tremble. I was only looking at his feet all the time, begging for his mercy, begging for his grace, begging for his forgiveness. I was continuously looking at his feet. And when I was looking at his feet, I was continuously saying, Lord, please forgive me. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. I did not know what I was doing. Please forgive me. But I knew that Lord was not going to forgive me. That would be the end of my life. And that fall into that burning lake of fire would have been my permanent death. At that time, I was thinking of falling down there. And as I was looking at his feet, slightly on his left, right on the platform level, I saw right beside there was a narrow door, very narrow gate. And through that gate, I could see the entire kingdom of heaven. And needless to say, this was the one and only gate that was open for me to go through the door. I felt like running to that gate, but I did not have courage because I am here in this earth about 5 feet 6 inches, and the Lord appeared to me. When you stand up there, you'd be at least 70 feet, 75 feet tall. So how could I go through that narrow door if the giant didn't want me to go through? That's a no-no. The only way we can go through the narrow door only if he lets me in. Otherwise, there's not a chance. So I was begging for his mercy. I said, Lord, please, 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 when you see me again, how can I go through this narrow door? Please tell me. I want to go through this narrow door. And he said, after repeated pleas, he said that I am sending you back to the earth. Go back and complete your unfinished tasks. I will see you again. And then I begged him, please tell me what I need to do to go through this narrow door when you see me next time. He did not respond. And I started to cry out to him, please, please tell me. Because when I go back to the earth, I'll do doing the same mistakes over and over. Then he said, when you go back to the earth, I want you to love your family and love your children. And he said, this is very fundamental things. You must love your family and love your children. Then I started to cry out to him, asking, Lord, please tell me what I need to do, which church I need to go, which temple, which church, which synagogue, where do you want me to go? When I go back, I'll be making the same mistakes over and over. Please tell me what I need to do. Then he said to me, those things are not important to me. I was shocked because I thought the more religious a person is, the closer to God he is. But God himself is saying those things are not important to him. What he meant to me, he said, what I want to see from you is your relationship with me. I want to see how true, how sincere, how honest you are with me every day, 365 days a year, 7 days a week. And I said, Lord, please, I'm a simple human being. Please tell me what I need to do to go through this narrow door. Then he gave me one directive. He told me before, love your family, love your children. But then he gave me 5 instructions. And I'll share those 5 instructions with all of you. The first instruction is, always tell the truth. Do not be afraid to tell the truth. Some people ridicule upon you when they hear the truth, but you must tell the truth. Now, the truth to me has 2 meanings. First is, don't tell lies. And second meaning is, share the truth, what you are witnessing here, what you are witnessing up front, and what you are witnessing on your left. Share this truth with everyone. Do not be afraid. So I'm sharing this truth with you. Second instruction is, from this day on forward, commit no more sins. The wages of sin is death. I got that one. Third instruction is, surrender yourself completely should be underlined, unto me in your daily life. Let me be the driver in your life. And the next instruction, he said, walk with me. Now, walk with me, I did not understand because I came from a different background. How can I walk with a giant? I was looking at 5'6" myself, and he's about 75 feet. How can I walk with a 75 feet tall giant? Okay, his one step is going to be, I have to run a race just to catch up with one of his steps. But now I understood is, walk with me means walk in the direction the Lord wants to go. If I'm going backward and sideways, then we're not walking with him. And the final instruction, he said, be kind to the poor, be generous to the poor. They need your help. Now, whenever we hear about generous to the poor, we always think that people need financial help only. Not necessarily. People could be poor in many ways, like they could be educationally poor, mentally poor, physically poor, and emotionally poor. We could be poor in many ways. But these days, what I see, most people are spiritually poor. Even people that go to the church weekly, daily, is still spiritually poor, because what he's looking for is a one-on-one, sincere, honest, true relationship, each and every one of us. And that's basically what I experienced. They sent me back to that hospital back. I was gone for 3 days and 3 nights. And then after I came back, within the 2 weeks, I was out of the hospital practically without any medication, nothing at all. And now I'm back to work and I'm still on my feet.
Yes, Santosh, you did come back, and you are a believer in Jesus as your Messiah, your Lord. How did that come about? I mean, did you have that realization while you were experiencing this unknown God presence in heaven, or was that after?
It came afterwards, because these things happened to me in 2006, October 2006, and I was back to work in November 2006. And then by the end of, December 2006, I was back to work and I'm back into my work. And then my first project after that was in China. So I was going back and forth to China, very frequently. And then I had to start writing the 2 books that he said. So I wrote the first book and it got published. And the second book, after the China project, my next project was in India. So I was going back and forth quite often. So by 2008, 2009, I have finished the book projects that the Lord asked me to do. And then, but I still didn't know what did I experience, because the mighty giant of pure light that I witnessed, he was unlike any of the gods and goddesses that I was familiar with in my religion. It was completely different. And what did this narrow door mean? Okay. So I wanted to find out. It was bothering me. And then I think it was about 2010, most likely the Easter service of that year. There's a church here in Middleburg Heights, close to where I live. They had an Easter service, and my daughter was invited to join the choir group there. And then she did, and she invited, her mom and me to join. And that's the first time I ever attended an Easter service anywhere. And that in that sermon, the senior pastor, Jonathan Schaefer, first time I heard him speak, and he was speaking that day what that narrow door means, as if his sermon was exclusively for me. He quoted some Bible verses. I went back home, I looked at those things, and what he said is exactly what I witnessed. So that drew my interest, and I kept coming back to this church every Sunday so I can learn more.
Santosh, you had witnessed the one that you, after being in heaven, knew then as Jesus. And your religion previous to this were a number of gods in the Hinduism, and some of them look very foreign, but the Jesus that you explained in heaven, the God that you saw in heaven, was huge. And was his appearance more like a human, how would you explain that? Because you had this going on as well, what you had been taught to expect as the gods, and what you had not been taught as God. How did that speak to you?
Well, what I witnessed there is, first he appeared to me as a giant, very frightening giant, okay, with blazing fires in his eyes. But soon, when he spoke to me, I felt his love, his compassion, his mercy, his grace on me. And through his grace, I witnessed that whom I witnessed there, that God is none other than love. Love is the form of God, and that's my God is full of love.
Yes. Santosh, you were then and are now an accomplished professional, and you had experienced the God of love. And sometimes I think we can forget that what is unique, certainly to the God of Jesus, the Messiah, is love. That was one of his names in the Bible. And that is something that is exclusive in his own personhood, and you experience that. So today, Santosh, we're wrapping this up. Wish we could go longer, but you did write a book. The second book, the final book that you had written. Tell us about that. Where can we get it, and what's the name of it?
2 books that I wrote, and they were combined with my interpretation. And that final book is my encounter with Jesus at Heaven's Gates. It's available in Amazon around the world. And, if you just go to the Google and search for it, you'll find it. My encounter with Jesus at Heaven's Gates.
Thank you so much for being with us today, Santosh. It's been a great blessing speaking with you, and thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you. God bless.
And God bless each of you.
Yeah.
So now for the great news. If you are in Christ Jesus, be of good cheer, because heaven is in your future. Until next time, take care and God bless. Thank you for watching this episode of Heaven Encounters. If you'd like more information, you can go to Randy Kay Ministries at randykay.org. Take care and God bless.